And then, okay, we're good to go. I'm just going to keep everybody muted for now. All right, Colleen, go ahead.
Okay, guys, welcome to week 2 of Accelerated Leadership Training. And this week we're going to be talking about maximizing your income, which is show me the money, honey, right? So for those of you on this call, obviously you are a leader, right? Right. So I'm going to kick things off and start to talk to you guys about getting paid at title. All right. So getting paid at title, you know that as a leader, you have got to earn at least what? 500 PRV, right? Every month. So getting paid at title, is hugely important because as you're growing your business and sponsoring and building, in order to get paid for your downline, in order to, get paid at your title, you've got to hit your numbers, which is at least 500 PRV every month. And before you start worrying about your downline, where they are, where they're promoting, where they're going, you need every single month, your first priority, remember, we always say leading from the front, right, is by working your own business. And by doing that, you've got to make sure that you're getting paid at title, okay? That should be your number one goal every month, is to get paid at title. Before you're worrying about even your next promotion, you can always aim for that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Have goals, work towards them. But we should always be working towards getting paid at title, right? So the minimum goal, 500 PRV. Your GWV, it depends obviously on what your title is and where you're going with that, the size of your team. But you know that your GWV, which we're going to get into, I have a child sneaking out of bed behind me. Mark, come get your daughter. Sorry, I'm totally sidetracked now. So your GWV, right? So 75% of your PRV will go into your GWV, right? Do you guys know this? Okay, yes. So 75% of yours and everybody else's PRV on your team is going to go into your GWV, your group wholesale volume, right? So based on the number of people that you have on your team, plus your at least PRV team members you need. And you guys know what, obviously, I'm assuming, I shouldn't assume, but you guys know what active team members mean, correct? Okay. So every single month, you need to be looking at your team. You need to be making sure that you're front loading your calendar, you're booking parties for yourself, you're getting paid at title. Okay. You cannot be worrying about your promotions or what's coming next if you're not getting paid at title. And we need to be trying to do that consistently. Okay. So, I mean, yes, we can hit these promotions, but sometimes we are, we're hitting a promotion and then a few months go by where we're not really working our business. And then we hit on another fluky month, a next promotion. So here we are again, just hitting a next title, a next promotion, but we really need to be working consistently towards getting paid at title. Okay. Working with your team, but really working your own business first and foremost and making sure that you're at least getting that 500 PRV every month and working with that group wholesale volume, your GWV, to make sure that you're getting paid at title. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. Somebody jump in from here 1 second. I just need to mute myself and talk to my husband. My kids are up out of bed.
Ashley?
Hi.
You want to jump in there? I was trying to mess with the audio settings. Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's fine. So I guess I can pour right into that. As far as getting paid at title, I know a lot of you are probably familiar, even if you've been on Boss Day Basics or just from us as leaders in general and being a part of our organizations, about front loading your calendars and why it's so important. And if you don't know what front loading is, it's when you have your calendar taken care of in advance. So the second week of every month, you're going to want to get all of your bookings taken care of for the month ahead. Okay. So right now, I have my bookings for November taken care of. For example, for December, which is going to be a little bit different because our shipping cutoff for the holidays is going to be different. You want to get as much as you can probably booked in that first week of December, so your customers can get their stuff back by Christmas if it is for holidays. But technically, front loading your calendar, you want to get as many bookings on your calendar within the first 2 weeks of a month. That way, you are good at getting your PRV taken care of, which is going to help you get paid at title, which is what Colleen was telling you. When I went to Director Boot Camp, I realized I've been doing this mess all wrong. Why do I say that? I was not front loading my calendar. I was not putting my business first. I was focusing on my team. Not that that's a bad thing. Like, as leaders, you want to focus on your teams. You want to help them. But it's so important that you realize that it is your business first. So you front load your calendar. You make sure you're good. That way, when you have all that knocked out those first 2 weeks, you have the rest of the month to help focus on your leaders, to help focus on your team. Go ahead and get your calendar front loaded for the next month and focus on recruiting, okay? Because those are things that as you grow in the company, regardless of what title you are, you're always going to have to sell. You're always going to have to recruit, because if you stop, what's going to happen? Your business is going to die. Your business is going to die. That's what's going to happen if you don't do those things. Remember last week we talked a little bit about sticking to the basics. Those are the basics, and that's why they're so important. So you want that PRV. You want to get paid at title. You want to have that time to help others, because that's what's going to duplicate your business. That's what's going to be your growth for the future. That's what's going to get you paid at title. That's what's going to help you grow into your numbers. That's what's going to help you promote to the next level. Okay? Patty?
Sorry, you guys are ready already? Kind of ran through that. I wasn't ready. Hang on one second. Sorry. I was just pulling something up here. Okay, so, I mean, Colleen, do you want to touch on anything before I get into the compensation plan? Because I know you kind of like, I unmuted you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know if there was anything that you wanted to touch on before I went into.
Yeah, sorry, you guys. I mean, pretty much what Ashley said as well. I'm sorry. My daughter completely distracted me and threw me off my mind frame here.
Okay.
But just like Ashley said, you know, you guys, we always tend to want to dig into our teams first and foremost. And that's great intentions. But honestly, we need to be worried about our business. And all of these weeks really intertwine and go hand in hand with each other. Like we were saying last week, lead from the front. And by doing that, you've got to work your own business first and foremost. Okay? You cannot be helping your team run their business and be a good leader if you're not stepping up to the plate and running your own business, right? What kind of sound advice can you offer them? And you always got to be working towards getting paid at title, all right? So when you're getting paid at title, you're getting paid from your downline. When you're not getting paid at title, you're not. So what is the point of building and sponsoring and, you know, bringing all these people on? Of course, you're there to change their lives and to show them how amazing this opportunity is. Like, don't get me wrong, okay? There is a very clear line between the two. But as far as your own business goes, you know, you've got to be getting paid as well. And in order to do that, you've got to get paid at title. Okay. So that means at least shooting for 500 PRV every single month. And how are you doing that? How are you trying to secure that number, at least that number every single month? Like Ashley said, front loading your calendar. Okay. So, before you go digging into your team and making sure that they're getting paid at title and making sure that, they have their calendars booked, you've got to make sure that yours are booked first. Okay. And that you're having parties. And then once you do all that, then you can go and talk to your team, right? But you've got to get paid at title, you guys, because what happens if all of a sudden your GWV is 1900,000, but yours is 0? It doesn't matter, right? So you've got to make sure that you are building your own business first and foremost, okay? Because number one is important, all right? Is the most important, because you can't be a good mom, leader, wife, friend, sister, daughter, anything until you take care of yourself first and foremost and pour into other people, right? So getting paid at title is your number one job as a leader every single month, okay? So yes, that's pretty much, I just needed to reiterate the same exact thing that Ashley said. So I did that, but I'm good. So anything else, we'll just add in, but Patty's going to talk about the compensation plan.
Okay, awesome. All right. So first of all, is there anybody here, and you can be completely honest, it's okay if you don't, is anybody here who's not completely comfortable with how the compensation plan, how the compensation plan works, knowing what it takes to promote, feeling comfortable in teaching that to a new consultant and explaining that? Can I get a show of hands at least of people who are the compensation plan like the back of your hand? And it's like I said, don't feel shy if you don't, this is why we need to go over this, because I want to explain this with you guys. So raise your hand if you are if you feel so comfortable with the comp plan that you could train somebody on it right now. Okay, awesome. See, I am so happy that you guys did not raise your hands, most of you, because this is why we're going to talk about this right now. Because if you do not, first of all, understand how you are getting paid down to the nitty gritty, this is how you get paid. Understanding the compensation plan is going to help you reach your goals. It's going to know what you're shooting for each month, and it's going to help you have a better understanding of where you need to be, where you are in the month versus how you need to get to the next level. It's also going to help you understand when you're having recruiting conversations, how you could tell someone, hey, once you start building up a team and blah, 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 these is how your percentages work, and this and that. It's very important for you to know how it works so you could teach it to other people, because obviously you guys are all on this call to, because you want to move up the compensation plan, right? So you have to be really familiar with how it all works. It's very crucial. So some of this may be repetitive for those of you who are very comfortable with it, but I think it's good to kind of touch on, the compensation plan in general. And so I'm going to share my screen with you guys in a minute for that, but I want to quickly go back to getting paid at title and what Ashley and Colleen kind of touched on. Every month as a leader, your minimum goal needs to be at least 500. That should just be a no-brainer. With this incentive period that we've had in the qualification period, how we have the consistency where it's, sell 500 PRV 5 out of 6 months. Scentsy did that on purpose. They did that because they know that you need 500 PRV as a leader in order to get paid on your downline. So they wanted to instill leadership, and they wanted to ensure that people are reaching their leadership goals and stuff like that by creating that consistency plan. Now, I didn't sit there with Scentsy and come up with that. Nobody told me that, but it's kind of obvious, that's why they did that, because that's how the compensation plan works. So for me, I know for sure, I'm going to hit 500. I don't care what it takes throughout the month. That is my minimum goal, and I don't stop. Listen, a new consultant coming into this, it's, in order to stay active, we tell them 200 in 1 month, over 3 months time. We understand what it takes to be active. And so as a new consultant coming in, they're like, okay, I just need my 200. I have that. That's a kind of a safe goal for new consultants. But you guys as leaders, you shouldn't even think of that 200. It needs to be 500 PRV every single month as a leader. That should just be a minimum. And of course, hitting the 2,000 is going to be, just extra, which is great because you get that extra 5% pay increase that month. But honestly, I have told plenty of girls on my team before, that like sometimes, you know, even though it's good to hit 2,000, I'm not saying that. Sometimes it's okay to just hit 500 and be okay in the month like that, because that'll still give you time to invest into your team and kind of dig into them a little bit more. But as long as you know you have your 500 PRV, you're kind of set. Then you can start focusing on, okay, how do I get my GWV to the goal that we need? Or how many active frontline do I have right now that maybe I could reach out to because I don't have an active frontline at the moment that I need? But your business always comes first. So 500 PRV should just be like a minimum. And if you shoot over it, that's fine. But just like as a leader, that should just be like a goal, like every single month. What else did I want to touch on real quick? With goal setting too. So this is going to help you, like I said, when you understand the compensation plan, it's going to help you kind of set your own goals each month, because you're going to know what you're working towards, and it's going to help you break it down easier when you know what your goals are. And I don't mean like, oh, I want to become a superstar director someday, and you know, I want to be a millionaire or make $25,000 a month. Like, those are good goals to have, but you need to know like what's called measurable goals, or SMART goals they call it, where you literally break it down, instead of being like, hey, I want to book parties this month. How many parties do you want to book this month? You know, do you want to book like for me, every month, 1 to 2 home parties on my calendar. I have a goal for 4 Facebook parties that I like to fill. And then I have 4 basket parties that I try and get out each month. So that's 8, 9, up to 10 parties on my calendar every single month. That's my goal. 8 to 10 parties that I have. And every single month, I make sure that I'm writing it down up here, my little goal setting. And just to show you guys how I front load real quick, I think I might have touched on this last week's call, but just to kind of reiterate, everything in pink, I know with the lighting it all looks the same color, but these here are pink. Pink is my party days, and that's any days that I can do parties, but I schedule that after my family and my personal stuff come first. Now, my son just signed up for Cub Scouts, so he has a whole mess of freaking events and den meetings and pack nights and all this stuff that I never knew of before going into Cub Scouts, that my calendar is literally filled almost every single week. Obviously, once we get him into a sport, we're doing that. So that's going to be a lot. Natalie's in school now, so that's going to be other things that we have going on. So all those things always come first, okay? You want to make sure that you are front-loading your calendar, meaning I probably within like 2 to like the second or third week, the third or fourth week into the month is usually when I do it. Because when I set up my calendar, I try and get all of my parties booked and set for like the beginning of the month, so that the end of the month I can focus more on bookings, and I can focus on digging into my team and, you know, whatever else I need to do in my business, you know, that month. But I make sure that I'm doing this like the last 2 weeks of the month, where I'm reaching out to people for bookings, because I already know what's on my calendar. I know what I have coming up. Like, this is my calendar for November. And let me tell you something, guys, I don't even have any parties on my calendar for November. Look how full my calendar is. Isn't that pathetic? We're 2 days away from November 1st, and I don't have 0 parties on my calendar, minus a Facebook party. And I actually have a basket party that's out from October that I'm probably going to drag into freaking November. I have a vendor event that actually got pushed back to November, which is kind of good. But other than that, I don't have any parties. So I have to hustle. I don't like the feeling. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like the feeling of this. And this has sort of happened just the way it happened for me, because you're going to have time where you're going to feel like nobody wants to host a party for you. Like right now, me personally, I feel like every person I've reached out to is telling me no, or they're ignoring me. I get in these moments just like you guys. So you have to learn how to push through. You know, and I'm not going to go into whole different ways on how I get parties booked when I'm feeling stuck. But if you're feeling stuck, you have to figure out a way to push past that, to think outside the box. Maybe like contact people who you never, I can't even get in. I'm not going to get into that right now, because I will ramble on how I try and get my parties booked, but it's called hustle. Like, you have to hustle. But at the same time, I don't like that feeling. I don't like the feeling of like pressure of like, oh my gosh, I have no parties on my calendar. November is like historically known as like the best month with Scentsy, and I have 0 parties on my calendar. I don't like that. So point being is, this is just sort of what happened, but I have my days available that I know I need to party. after I've already planned my family stuff, any dates that are blank, those are my party days. And so those are the times that when I'm contacting people, I say, hey girl, listen, blah, 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 hosting a party with me, blah, blah, blah. I have November 3rd, 10th, and the 19th. Let me know which one works for you. And I always give them dates, and I make sure that because you run your calendar. You are the person who runs your calendar. And if you can't get into the month where you're like halfway through and you have no parties on your calendar, or you're scrambling because you're going to get burnt out, set yourself up ahead of time, because it's only going to ensure your paycheck. And when your business is set, like Ashley was saying, and how Colleen was saying, is that then you can kind of focus more on your team. You can focus more on teaching them, how to do things like this. You could focus on going live on your page one week and talking about why front loading your calendar is so important. Because guess what? You could tell your team all day, every day, but telling you doing live video for your team is not income producing in that moment. So you have to make sure that your business is front loaded, ready to go first, always. 500 PRV minimum. And so how are you going to get that? You have to break it down by how many parties do I need to do this month to hit my 500 PRV goal that I'm going for. For me personally, my goal every month is 2K. That's just my goal. But I know I can hit that easily with 1 to 2 home parties and a few, Facebook parties and basket parties that I have out. I know for sure that I do. So you have to think about what you're doing on a month by month basis. Even if you need to kind of backtrack and track your past months, I would go back to 3 to 4 months previous and see the amount of parties that you did. What was your PRV? How many home parties did you have? How many basket parties? How many Facebook parties were you doing that got you to that PRV? Did you have any random customer orders? Were you using your follow-up binder? What got you to that PRV? And kind of think about how you're making that money. Because it's only going to help you set up. It's going to help you determine your goals too, as far as tracking, and you guys, some of you, I know the girls on my team have heard me talk about tracking and stuff. And this is kind of another topic that we're going to get into in another week. But that kind of stuff is so important, because you have to know where you're going, and you have to know where you were in order to change or in order to grow. So I'm not going to touch too much on that, just because I'm going to ramble. So I'll kind of talk to you guys about the compensation plan. Like I said, I'm glad that you guys kind of want to know more or aren't that fully, comfortable with that, because I think it's very important. Okay,
Patty, can I say something real quick?
Yes, please.
Excuse me. So not to get into it too in depth, but if you're good for the next month, feel free to go on and keep booking your months out. You know what I mean? If you've got people that are willing to party with you, then keep booking out, you guys. All right. You don't have to do month to month to month to month, okay, now it's going to be November. So once November comes, I'll work on December. You guys, I'm working on parties in January right now, in the beginning of February. And when that happens, again, without getting too much into it, you're able to plan better, then you can host coach. Then you can really focus on those parties, and you can really prepare for your parties and bulk up that PRV. And because, you can go into a situation and really be prepared and in the know and have all this time to invest into your hosts, right? But if you're doing everything last minute, you don't have all that time to host coach and pour into your hosts as well, right? So feel free. If you guys have your months, if you have November booked, guys, start booking for December right now, right? Start booking for January. You can do that. There's never too far out. I mean, yes, clearly I'm not going to book for July right now, but you can start preparing, because when that happens, hey, then you have time to focus on your team. Like Patty said, then you can do, talk to your team, ask them what they need for special trainings, what they feel like they're lacking in. Then you can do special things like that, right? Those extra things
for your business,
your business. Yes.
What did I just do I just created a turkey trot for November. Just not to get into the whole details of it, but it's basically where I asked 12 people who want to carry around basically a little basket party. They collect $100 in orders. I split up hostess rewards, and everybody gets prizes and kind of thing. It's a thing that I want to start implementing annually, whatever, for my VIPs. And so I need to have my party my calendar good to go with parties before I could even think about that. Because I had to sit here today, and today's a Sunday, but it was a rainy day and we weren't really doing much anyway. But like I sat here and I made flyers for it and all this stuff. That's not income producing. I cannot waste my time on a Monday morning when I come here to work my business making flyers for my turkey trot. That's not making me money. I need to have my calendar ready to go, like Colleen said, so that you're not scrambling. I've had so many times where like I book a Facebook party in the middle of the month because I didn't front load my calendar, and I was like, oh my God, I need to get this date booked. Like I have no parties, and I get anxiety over it. Because this is my paycheck. This is my source of income, like, and especially, I mean, I know that there's lots of us here who have full-time jobs, part-time jobs, but if your ultimate goal with Scentsy is to become a source of income, then you have to get in the habit now of making it your source of income and making it like so that you're not scrambling, hoping you get a paycheck, because we know that this business is what you get out of it, not only, metaphorically and all that stuff, but like literally and financially, what you get out of it is what you put into it. So if you're not front loading and you're not getting yourself set up, like it's only gonna harm you in the long run. So anyway, front loading your business first is always just a priority. Okay, so if you guys, as you guys know, like I said, if you have questions, please ask them in the chat box as we go, and we're going to do a Q&A in just a bit. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let me just pull this up here. Hang on 1 second. Okay, can you guys see that? All right, awesome. All right, so this is a compensation plan. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are familiar with it by now. Hopefully you are. And I'm just going to move this thing down here so I don't see it. Okay, so obviously you can find this on your business references tab. Now, you guys, you have to, like, if this is not printed out, you have to print this out. Keep it in your planner. You can laminate it. You can, like, I don't care what you do, hang it up on your wall. Like I have one behind my desk, like behind my computer. And then I also have one in my planner so I can refer to it when I'm on the go with people, if I ever need to explain it to somebody. It's very important that you understand this and have it with you at all times, because you want to know where you are in the month and where you need to be. Now on your home screen, there is a tracker what kind of explains what, the tracker for the compensation plan and the, your goal title that you're going for and things like that. But that's kind of tough, like to really understand. Like that tracker is hard to understand before you understand how this works. So when I do my new consultant trainings, I will touch on the compensation plan, and then I'll briefly touch on the tracker with them as well, because it's just going to be hard for newer consultants to understand it anyway. So I actually like this new compensation plan that Scentsy came out with, because it looks just like more pleasing to the eye and it's a lot easier to understand. So up here, these are your monthly responsibilities. Everything up here is like what is required of you as a consultant in 1 month, okay? Down here are the rewards, meaning what you get if you hit these qualifications up here. They're calling them responsibilities, but I like the word qualifications better, because this is what you need to qualify in order to get this, in order to get paid, in order to get your percentages, okay? So, I'm just going to quickly go through it. Like I said, I know that this might be repetitive for some people, so just bear with me, but I just think it's important. So PRV, personal retail volume, every point in, PRV that you sell is $1 in US dollars, right? So personal retail volume. So up here, this is what you need in 1 month in order to promote or get paid at one of your titles. So you can see here, coming into this, an essential consultant really doesn't need anything in 1 month because they're essential. They're just starting out. They come into this down here. If you looked at the rewards, the commission from their PRV is 20%. So every new consultant who comes into this makes 20% of their own sales and or purchases. Once, and you see it circled right here, once you sell 1,000 PRV, you're certified for life. And this, I love it because it kind of gives the new consultants a push, get certified ASAP for a 5% pay increase. So once, you can see here, once your personal retail volume comes up to 1,000, you then promote up to certified consultant. And here you get that 25% pay increase. It's a 5% pay increase that they get from then on out. real quick about getting certified, I think it's very important too, and we're going to kind of talk about that. We're going to have a whole new week on training new consultants, which I think is next week actually, but it's very important that you are setting your consultants up for getting certified right away. And this is something that I touch on with them like right in the very beginning, and I make it like known that they have to get certified. And I love that Scentsy kind of highlighted this here. So, 1,000 PRV, you're certified. And then from then on out, they start building a team, or you start building a team rather. You can see here, in order to become a lead consultant in 1 month, you need at least 500 PRV. Your group wholesale volume, which is 75% of your GWV, is 1,000 together. Now, this document right here, you see this here? I'm sure you guys have seen this before. This kind of tells you what each person on your team, like if you had you and a lead person, you and one person together, you would need 1334 GWV in order to really have 1,000. This thing, I don't even tell people about that, because all you need to do is go on your performance tab and it'll tell you what your GWV is. You don't have to calculate anything. You don't have to calculate 75%. Just know, like if you just know it's 75%, if someone ever asks you what does GWV mean, you can say, oh, it's 75% of your PRV. That's all that really means. You can track that just fine on your performance tab. By clicking performance, you'll say GWV, whatever's there, as long as it says 1,000 and you have your 500 and that person who joined you sells 200, which is active, in 1 month, you would then bump up to lead consultant, okay? Now, in order to maintain that, because the thing is we get paid on our rank, not necessarily our title. So if you promote up to lead consultant, let's say this month in October, but then in November you don't sell 500 yourself, or you and your new team member don't sell 1,000 GWV together, you're not going to get paid at your title. You're still going to be a lead consultant. However, you're not going to get paid as a lead consultant. So to go back here on the tracker real quick, I'll just show you guys my tracker. I don't mind. Over here. So for instance, this is what I was talking about as far as rank and title. So right now my title says director. At the beginning of every month, we all go back to certified consultant. Once you're certified, every month, first of the month, we're all certified, which is awesome, because that's Scentsy's way of saying you're not going to promote to superstar director and pay you like a superstar director if you're not working your business. So you have to consistently work your business in order to get paid at your title. So right now, my rank is director because my team and I have hit my numbers, and my gold title up here, obviously here is star director. So that might be different for some of you. It might be director, it might be superstar director. And for your newer consultants, it'll be like essential and certified will be their gold title kind of thing. So, this is the gold title, and then here are the trackers for whatever that goal, your next promotion. So for me, this is what I would need in order to get paid as a star director. 500 PRV in 1 month, a team wholesale of 6,000, and a group wholesale of 30,000, 3 active frontline, and then 2 first-generation directors. So I know, that tracker is there as a daily reminder, but I know that in my head that that's what I need for star directors number anyway. So it's very important to understand how that works, but I kind of wanted to show you what the tracker was as well, okay? When they lead consultant, they still get 25% of their own purchases. They're then getting 2% of their personal wholesale volume. Personal wholesale volume is 75% of your PRV. So not only are they making 25% of their own sales, but you're now making 2% on your wholesale volume as well. And again, you can go on your performance tab right here and track this. PRV, PWV, TWV, GWV. You don't have to calculate anything. Everything is all right here for you, okay? So, and then anybody, if they're a lead consultant, obviously they have somebody on their team who's a frontline, so somebody you have personally sponsored who is an essential or certified consultant, you're gonna get 2% of their team wholesale volume, okay? Now I wanna show you guys something real quick. Actually, no, I'm not gonna show you because it's gonna pull up everybody's numbers. But when you run a leadership report or a downline report, you'll see the columns that'll say PRV, TWV, GWV. Like you're getting that percentage on the TWV column. So if you ever wanted to calculate it, 1 month, like before you get paid, you would just go there and take their TWV times like 0.2 or whatever it is and that's how much you would get, percentage. Okay. So, Star Consultant, you can see here, in order to get bumped up to Star Consultant, everybody across the board from lead to Superstar Director needs 501 month. I think that that's very fair and awesome that Scentsy has it that way. Scentsy's compensation plan is very easy to understand. Star Consultant GWV needs to be at least 2,500, and you need 2 active frontlines. So you would have had to have sponsored at least 2 people on your own. You get your 25%. You're getting bumped up to 4% of your own personal wholesale volume. You're now getting 4% on any essential or certified consultants team wholesale volume. And now that you're a Star Consultant, it might be likely that one of your team members has promoted to lead. So now you're getting 2% on that lead consultant, which is why, guys, it is so important to help like not only recruit, but help your team not only recruit and get paid at title, but help your teams recruit and get paid at title, because it's going to help them promote up. It's going to help them grow up the compensation plan. And obviously, like, you have a lead consultant. I mean, look at how these percentages go. You're getting, 4% on, let's say you started growing your team really huge, and next thing you know, you have a director on your team who then has another director on their team, and then down, they have a director on their team. Your percentages up once you're a Superstar Director, or actually once you are a director, start increasing as you build more directors in your group. Okay. So I know that this is kind of right now a little like in the beginning for all of us, actually, including myself, but it's very important that you are building leaders, which is, again, another week that we're going to kind of touch on, because, it just, you can clearly see, I mean, the facts state it right here. I remember at leadership, actually, what was it? It was this past leadership. Was it Kansas City? Or I think it was Reunion, Kansas City, but they had a leadership night. I don't know if Ashley or Colleen remember this, but Becca Levi was talking, and she said that in order to, like, on average, make what doctors and lawyers make, she said that you should at least have 11 frontline directors. 5, Ashley? Wait, hold on, I need to unmute you. What'd you say?
You're right.
Oh.
You're right, 11. But she was talking about her 5-year plan. That's why I was
the 5-year plan. Right. Yes, exactly. 5-year plan. I've heard her say that before. But yeah, she was saying something like, try and shoot for, if you have 11 frontline directors, that's when you're going to start to see the type of money that doctors and lawyers make. I don't know about you guys, but 11 does not seem far off from me at all. Like, I mean, yes, believe me, it's a goal. But that is a goal in my mind that I know for sure I'm going to help somebody achieve. I know for sure I'm going to help people, because I want to help people succeed in this business, and I want to help them, grow and become successful and things like that. And so that's what this business is all about. I mean, there's so much that comes with this business, but if we're talking strictly compensation plan, like recruiting, training new consultants, building leaders, that's like what it all boils down to. And taking care of your own business first, of course. Okay. So Star Consultant, you can see how it increases. Superstar Consultant, you're looking at, again, 500 PRV. Now, altogether, you guys need 6,000 GWV. Active frontlines, now you need 3. So I actually have, like, a few times, like, people will come to me, and you might even find this too as you start to grow your team and build your own leaders. Like, they'll come to you and be like, oh, I'm so close to Superstar Consultant numbers, but they only have like 2 active frontline, or maybe they don't have that many people. I've had times where somebody will recruit someone who's like a straight rock star, and then all of a sudden that person starts recruiting a lot of people, and next thing you know, their team is huge, and they're promoting because of that person, not because of them, but like, I mean, clearly if that person that they recruited is the brunt of their team, like, for instance, let's say there's a Star Consultant who has a team of 2 people that she sponsored, and one of those people, like, recruited like 6 people. Now she has a team of 8 people, but she will not promote up to superstar consultant even if they're hitting 6,000 because she doesn't have that third front line, if that makes sense. So that's why it's important for you guys to just understand what exactly you need. And I mean, it's laid out clear in front of you. I'm probably making it a lot more confusing than it actually is. Director, 500. Now you're looking at 10,000 GWV. Team wholesale volume. Now, the difference between team wholesale volume and group wholesale volume is that once you promote a director in your group, like let's say you're a director and then all of a sudden you have someone on your team who has promoted to director. A director creates a generation. So this is the best way that I can explain it with my hands. Let's say this is you're a director. All of a sudden you have, this is your team here, but then this person promotes to director. Like let's say your frontline promotes to director. Everybody who's on her team, like under, is now her team, but they're still in your group, if that makes sense. Okay. So that's why you'll see when you promote to director, you need that team wholesale volume as well that you have to hit, because that director now has her own set of requirements that she has to meet too, but you guys together as a group have to make 10, if that makes sense. Okay. So anybody can like who promotes to director on your team in your downline, they don't have to be your front line. If you notice here, it says like for star director, you need first generation directors, not frontline directors. So for star director, you're looking at 3 people who are active along with 2 first generation directors. That doesn't have to be 2 people who you personally sponsor. It could be anybody in your downline who's not a director before them. Okay. Once they become a director, they kind of branch off on their own team. And so they're no longer, I mean, they're a part of your team, but they're just considered like your first generation director, if that makes sense. Okay. So you can kind of see, I mean, like I said, what the requirements are for each. Superstar director, 80. Now I want to say something too about superstar director. Like once you're a superstar director, obviously you can't promote up any further. And this just goes in general, like continued recruiting in your business is going to be the best thing that you can do for your business. But like once you're a superstar director, you have no choice but to continue promoting or continue recruiting rather, because you cannot even, there's no more requirements for you to even move up more, which is why it's so important to build your leaders, to teach your teams to recruit, to explain like the compensation plan to them and so that they fully understand it. Because look at how here, if we're just talking numbers, never mind emotions and everything else that's so amazing about Scentsy, strictly finance like numbers right now that we're talking, your percentages are literally increasing the more directors you have in your group. And not just your front line, but like let's say you're a superstar director and you are getting 3% of your frontline director. Okay, so you're a superstar director. You have, let's say, 1 person, or well, you actually need 4. Okay, so 4. I'm gonna do some math with you guys right now. Actually, sorry, and I need a calculator because my math is terrible. Okay, so you're a superstar director. You have 4 first generation directors. You're getting 3% on your first generation director's bonus. Now we know in order for a director to get paid at their title, they need 10,000 GWV. 10,000 times 0.03, 3% is $300 times 4 directors. That's $1,200 on only your 4 frontline or your first generations that you have there. Never mind your essentials, never mind your certifieds, your lead, your star, your superstar. Okay. So obviously you can see the higher you promote, the higher your percentages come, and that's only your frontline. You could see here your percentages increase. Now you have a second generation director. A second generation director would be someone who is in your downline. Like let's say you have a frontline director, then all of a sudden they promote up a director. That would be considered your second gen. You're now getting 4% on your second gen. So you're getting another, let's say, and this is on average, if they're just hitting 10,000. Let's not talk about if they're up hitting 30, 40,000 before they even hit star director, okay? So let's say 10,000 times 0.04. So that's $400 for a second gen that you have there. What if you had 2, 3, 4 second gens, right? What if you had, let's say every single one of your directors promoted up a director, that's times 4. That's 1,600 for those second gens, plus the 1,200 for your first gens. That's 2,800 right there. So you guys can really see why it's so important to build up your leaders, get them to director, and, kind of help there, because you're only getting 3%, or you're really only seeing that increase. Like if you look here, director and star director is kind of the same across the board. Actually, from director to superstar director, the compensation plan, like the percentages are all the same, right? You could see that director, star, superstar director are all the same here up until you have that second gen. So you're still pretty much, obviously like your GWV, their DWV rather, is going to determine like what your paycheck is, like as far as like increasing if it's more than 10,000. But on average, like you're really only seeing that increase once you have a second gen and third generation. Okay. So that's, what do we say? 2,600 or 2,800, whatever. Let's say you have a third generation director. Every single one of your third generation directors, you're now getting times 0.05. That's 500 times 4, 2,000 plus 2,800. That's 4,800. That's 4,800 in your paycheck. Never mind your own personal sales if you're hitting 2,000, right? Like, I know that this is like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for this. Like, I can't wait for this, you guys. But like, it's important for you to understand how this works so that you could now know your goals. You can understand what you need in that month to promote, what you need to get paid at title, because there's no point in promoting if you're literally not going to be getting paid at your title every month. What are you shooting for? Why are you looking to promote? If you have to really think about that, why are you looking to promote in Scentsy? I'd imagine it's because you want to make more money. So why promote if you're not going to make it a point to at least get paid at your title every month? And the way that you're going to do that is through growth, is through recruiting. That's going to be probably the biggest thing that you can do for your team and your business, is growing, recruiting consistently. And I'll tell you guys, like, if you continue recruiting consistently, you'll get to a point where you're hitting your numbers no problem. Like for me, my team, we've just grown so large already that like by the 10th or the 15th of the month, we're already hitting our numbers. Like, I mean, of course I love that, but like I'm going to my next goal. Like that's my next goal that I'm shooting for. But it's sort of like, you feel like you could kind of not rest easy, but like you're a little bit more like feels a little more comfortable knowing that you'll be hitting your numbers because your team size. If you are a star consultant and you only have 2 people who let's say you just promote to star and you have 2 people on your team, you hit 2,500 in an awesome month in the fall because it was just crazy in October, November. And so you were able to maintain that, or you were able to hit, superstar director or director. But then you don't have that growth. You don't have that growth there to continue and keep that. And so that's pretty much like, honestly, one of the biggest, I'm going to stop sharing this now. One of the biggest points of this program that we wanted to do was train you guys and teach you guys why it's so important to get paid your title, and also how to maintain that after you promote. You don't want to promote in November and do it just because you had a great month, but then your growth isn't there to keep it. Come December when it's a much shorter month, or January when it's much slower, and then you're not hitting your numbers. Because guess what? When you don't hit your director numbers 3 months in a row, you fall into what's called DQ. And if you've been in DQ for 3 months, then you get demoted to superstar consultant, and that takes a big hit to your ego, and you don't want to do that. So you really have to think of like continued recruiting always is going to be the best thing that you could do for your business, and the best way you're going to be able to maximize your income. Once you have recruiting down, and this is not a training on recruiting. If you guys are not uncomfortable with recruiting, you have to go look up trainings. You have to Google recruiting direct sales or whatever, or Scentsy trainings. There's plenty of recruiting trainings on the training center. Take it back to the basics. Sometimes I'll go to the training center and I'll just watch new consultant trainings or things that I just want a refresher on. You have to be willing to be present and things like that if you're feeling like those are areas that you're stuck on. I know that we kind of talked today a little bit on our team, on our Accelerated Leadership page, and you guys were kind of talking about some things that made you uncomfortable. I challenge you guys to go do those things that are making you uncomfortable. Because that's
Patty, can I say something really quick?
Of course. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, I'm rambling. Please, go ahead.
So, before we open it up to questions, and please, you guys, like, this is a space for you guys. Like, you guys have been identified as our leaders, and we want to pour everything we have into you, everything that we know, everything that we've learned about or sought after. We want to teach you because we've failed miserably, but you've got to fail miserably to succeed. Like, to ultimately succeed, you've got to fail, honestly. Okay. But this is what I was going to say is that recruiting is really like always the answer. Sponsoring and building wide and deep is always the answer, because think about this. You sponsor, right? And they say it's a 90-day turnaround. To have consistent, sometimes I get questions from my downline, like, how are you recruiting and sponsoring every month? Because I'm consistently talking about the joint opportunity. And it took me a while to get into that groove, but they say there's a 90-day turnaround. Okay. So what I'm doing now, what's paying off now is conversations that I had 90 days ago. Right. So remember that they say there's a 90-day turnaround, and to have that constant flow coming in, you've got to be consistent. You cannot have a conversation just like, two random conversations and be like, my career is made. No. And think about it, right? You sponsor all these people. We all know this, whether you're new or whether you're a veteran, you know that not everybody is going to move. Okay. Just like the gym, you can sign up, but you don't have to go, okay? It's just like this. I promise you. Patty said last week, 20% of your team will do 80% of the work. 80% of your team will do 20% of the work. And that's not a joke. That is a very real statement, if there was ever a real statement, okay? Know that. So what have you got to keep doing? Recruiting. You've got to recruit. And then you're going to have those people. You're going to find those people that are going to move. But there's I don't know if it was a saying or a story, but I've heard it a million times in a million different, tones and voices. But have you ever heard that saying? If you knew 5,000% that there was gold in your backyard, right? And you were digging month after month after month, but you just haven't found the gold yet, but you know that it's there. Okay, for a fact, would you stop digging for the gold?
I'm so glad that stuck with you.
See? And you would keep digging. Of course you would, because it's right in your backyard. And it's just like this, you guys. There's people everywhere, okay? So you've got to keep sponsoring. That's how you're going to build your residual income. It's how you're going to build your empire, your legacy, everything that you have visioned in your mind. You've got to keep building. Where you are now with what you have, you're not going to your dreams aren't going to come true with this. Not me, not you, not Patty, not Ashley. No, it's not. Not Jen, not Kristen. You know why? Because half of those people are going to fall off their team. They've got to still build, and look for those people that are movers and shakers and doers and go-getters. They still have to find those people, you guys, right? Just like you. You can do this, all right? We'll get into all the specifics about pouring into the people that are moving, but you've got to keep recruiting, okay? It's always to get to your next goal, to get your team to their next goal, you've got to sponsor, I've got to sponsor, they've got to sponsor. You guys have got to recruit, okay?
Yes, you have to recruit, and you have to teach them the importance of recruiting and how to do it. So like I said, if you're feeling uncomfortable with recruiting, or you don't feel like you're a good recruiter, you have to just practice makes perfect. Okay, we've all heard this since we're children. Practice makes perfect. You just have to keep doing it. You have to keep trying. If it's not working, try switching something up. Maybe change the way that you're talking to that person. Maybe change your approach. Maybe if you've been messaging them on Facebook for the longest time, maybe it's time to start using voice message. Maybe it's time to meet them for coffee. and get to know them as a real person, and really find out why they want to join Scentsy and how it can benefit them, because through your own personal experiences, because you know what it's done for you. So whatever that is, whatever your method is of recruiting, I mean, you guys are all leaders already. You've done something right? You've done it before. So all you need to do is just teach your team what you know. That's all you need to do. There's no secret sauce to recruiting, and unfortunately there's nothing that we can give you that's going to be like, hey, this is the magic sauce, now go and recruit 50 million people. Like, every situation is different. It's a case-by-case basis, and so you need to be fully comfortable as a person who sponsors people. I hate even calling it recruiting, but like, you have to be comfortable with sponsoring. And if you're not comfortable with sponsoring right now, that's okay. This is what this program is for. It's here to help you, to help train you and get you to a point where you do feel comfortable. Because I think for me, myself, and Ashley, myself and Ashley.
I'm myself. I'm now myself, Ashley's self. I mean, Patty.
Me, Colleen, and Ashley, I think we can all confidently say that we feel very confident sponsoring people. Like, I feel confident. And I mean, and I have, believe me, moments where I feel like I'm being strung along, but believe me, not every person who I talk to is ready to join right then and there. It is a process. It's a long process. And sometimes you want to pull your hair out because you're like, I don't even want to waste my time with this person anymore because they've been stringing me along for freaking 2 years. And trust me, I've gotten there, but you do not want to ever take them off your list and things like that. And this is obviously a whole nother topic, but like, you have to just continue going, and you have to get to a point where you feel confident and you feel comfortable so that you can confidently train your team now. Because if you don't feel confident in recruiting, there's not going to be any way for you to really train your team on how to do it. They're not going to be confident. They have to see your confidence come from within, and it's going to inspire them. But I say this all the time, like, no matter what it is in your business, your team needs inspiration to pull from. Not everybody's a self-starter, and a lot of people need ideas. If you think about it, we're all in different Scentsy groups and on a team page, and we're all like, hey, I did this for my customer, and you YouTube things to find out like ideas for your business. It's the same thing. So how can your team pull inspiration from you? Be that example for them. Be someone that they can pull inspiration from, and be confident in that, because you want to be able to teach them why things like this are so important, and particularly recruiting and growing up the compensation plan, things like that. So you have to fully understand the compensation plan. You have to be comfortable with it. If you need to watch a training 2-3 times, then watch a training 2-3 times before you fully understand. It took me so long to understand the compensation plan when I first was a new consultant. I was like, I don't understand this. This is so crazy. But once you understand it, it sort of like makes sense, and you're like, okay, this is where I am right now. This is where I need to be. Mm-hmm. And then you could teach that to your team. But you cannot teach things to your teams and hope that they're inspired if you are not fully comfortable with these things. Okay. So anyway.
Guys, sorry. I'm like, sorry. Okay, so when I was saying, right, that you've got to fail to succeed, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like, I know a lot of you are like, I can't recruit, like, I don't want to sponsor, I don't know what to do, like, it's just like my weakness, it's my weak area, I'm better at sales, like, I know a lot of you feel like this, right? But you guys, it's not something that, like, instead of sitting there thinking like, oh, what am I going to say? Or what could I say? I'm not good at it. I don't want to do it. You're overthinking it. Analysis paralysis. You think about it so much that you end up doing nothing about it. It's one of those things, right? That Patty just said, Patty and Ashley can't give you any like one specific answer on how to do it. It's only something that you're going to be able to figure out until you do it. And honestly, when I said fail, a lot of times that I did it, I made a fool of myself. Thinking back now, right? I said the most ridiculous things to people that I was like, oh, I'm doing so good. Oh my God, she's going to join my team. I messaged her. She's totally into this. And she totally was not, right? And I made a fool of myself. But I think about it now and I'm like, I needed to do that. I needed to do that to get right here, to know that I shouldn't have said that, and to get my groove, okay? Recruiting, sponsoring, however you want to call it, which I don't like saying recruiting either because it's just like a number thing. The only way you're going to do it and figure out what you got to say and how you want to do it is by doing it, you guys. Just take the plunge and just have these conversations with people, okay? There's no specific way to do it. It's your way. It's your way. Just start talking to somebody about it, and then you're going to start talking to somebody else about it, and then it's just going to start flowing. And then you're going to have your groove. You're going to have like this conversation that just flows off your tongue, okay? Now I'm more, well, I shouldn't say I'm more comfortable sponsoring than I am with sales. That's not true, but I'm a sponsor. I love to sponsor, and I would have never said that 8 months ago. But the only way that I became like this is by doing it and by failing a million times when I first did it. Okay. So just do it.
I know we keep going off back and forth, and we're really not trying to drag this
I
out.
just want to talk.
All right, let Ashley get it. Well, let me just say this real quick before I lose my train of thought, is that you have to like be in the mindset, like, and this is a whole like recruiting topic, but if your mindset is to next recruit, like it's not going to happen. You have to be in a place where you understand the value in this business. You understand, like, you know, how Scentsy has benefited you and how it can help someone else, and really understand why they want to join, and don't be afraid to ask them. I literally ask every person, so what is it about Scentsy that sparks your interest? I literally ask that to every single person. And that's all it takes, is a simple answer. And when they say, oh, I'm looking to make extra money, I'm looking to make friends, I'm looking to travel, you can be like, well, hey girl, we could do that. So that's just, anyway, I'm not going to ramble, but that's pretty much what I'm saying. Like, you have to switch your mindset when it comes to recruiting. If you're looking to recruit just to grow your numbers, I'm telling you, I'd rather have a small team of people who are like strong leaders, like an army of leaders, versus like 1,000 people on my team who are doing nothing. Getting all those people on your team who are literally doing diddly squat is like, you want to make sure you have substantial people. So anyway, go ahead, Ashley. I'm sorry.
That's really true, because if you don't, then you do what the three of us talked about earlier about carrying your team, and it happens. And that kind of has to do with what I wanted to say, stemming off what Patty was talking about with the comp plan. Guys, I want you to know ultimately that your numbers don't define who you are as a leader. Okay? If you're not getting paid at title, it's okay. Because guess what? I'm not getting paid at title either. I'm not. I'm a star director, and I'm not getting paid at title. But
and that's very common.
Because I will be. That's why I'm here, helping build some boss leaders in our big old Scentsy family. You know, it's going to happen when it's time. But making myself relatable here, I joined in August of 2015. I went into October 1st of 2015, a lead consultant. No, not even. A certified consultant, October 1st, 2015. October 31st, 2015, I was a superstar consultant. Triple promotion. I did not hit those numbers again until March of 2016. I promoted to director in April of 2016. I have only not hit director numbers 1 month. That was a month after I promoted. 1 month, and I missed it by like 500 PRV. Our team missed it. It's okay. I want you to know that it's okay. It's a busy time of the year, which is why we really wanted to do this for you guys, because promotions are going to happen. Sometimes you can't help it. Just like when I triple promoted that October, it was meant to be. Even though I didn't get paid at title for those, 5 months, it's okay. It didn't define the leader that I was. It just showed that my team wasn't ready yet. We had to grow into those numbers. So if you're finding yourself in that situation, and don't let it get you down. Figure out how you can get yourself and your team out of it. What do you have to do to switch it around and get yourself paid at title? Focus on that first. Maybe you have to change the people. You change the people, or you change the people. Recruiting. You might have to get some new blood in there if you're not hitting those numbers, okay? Or you might need to be trying to change the people that you have. Maybe you've got to build those relationships, whatever it is that you have to do. But don't ever hang your head low and think that it's your problem. Because trust me, I've seen plenty of people, plenty of leaders, directors in this company, and I was oblivious to it. I did not realize how many people carry their teams. That's a lot of stress. And if they're putting that much focus into their personal business just to hit their numbers, how much focus are you really going to be able to put into your teams?
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
It's true. And if you are a person who is carrying your team like that, you know, obviously like what Ashley said, but also like think about like if you're a person who has top sales like a lot, you know, I mean, obviously that's great, but and you're struggling in recruiting, think about ways that maybe you could flip some of that to other, you know, flip those hosts and things like that. If you are getting, you know, all those sales and stuff, and you feel like you're really carrying your team like that, sometimes I like to tell people also, you know, you have to think about where your PRV is coming from. And if you're carrying your whole team like that, it is a lot of pressure every month, you know, because you're going to be sitting there, like Ashley said, I'm coming up on the end of the month and we're not hitting our numbers. Looks like I need to go ahead and place an order, or looks like I need to go ahead and, you know, book another party kind of thing. So anyway, I'm not going to ramble on that. So do we have any questions off the bat, off the compensation plan, off anything? Now is the time to speak or forever hold your peace. Please ask us questions.
No question is dumb. Go ahead, Pat.
I do. And I feel like it's going to be hard for you guys to understand what I'm saying. So so for instance, I just promoted to superstar, right? So for, I wrote it down because I was confused myself. So when I have a lead underneath me, right, one of my team members are a lead consultant, I would normally get 5% off of them. What if they don't hit lead? If they're not getting paid at title, am I for the prior? So like the 7% that I would get off Essential or Certified?
You still get them paid as a lead.
Even if they're not getting paid at title?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you're still getting paid at them as a lead, even if they're not getting paid a title, but you want them to get paid a title because you're getting paid on their title. So let's say, you know, a lead consultant, you're getting 2% if they have 1,000 GWV, but they're not getting paid as a lead consultant because they only had like 500 PRV. So even though you're getting that 2%, you're getting 2% on 500 GWV versus, you know, 2% on 1,000 GWV, right. Which is why, of course, you want, you know, ultimately you want them to get paid a title.
So it's better for everybody.
Right.
But you still get paid even if they don't hit it.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Does anybody else have questions?
Lots of promotions going on right now within this particular group.
Yes.
So
We're
if you
so
need
excited
to understand anything, like, please ask us. Like, this is totally what we're here for. Is for you, women in particular, is who we are here for. So if you don't understand anything, please ask us. And if you can't, Sandy's speaking, you're muted.
Yes, Sandy, go ahead.
I have a question, and I think you may have already answered it when you talked about change the people. But I consistently get my 500 every month and then some. But, excuse me, but I can't seem to hit my numbers through my team. I get the 3 active, I'm superstar consultant. So I get the 3 active, I get my numbers, but then my team doesn't get the PRV to get me paid at title. I just wonder, how can I motivate? How can I get them?
How big is your team, Sandy?
11.
And the thing with your team, Sandy, is it's just active. So it's hard. I mean, that's a big, and I don't mean that in an ugly way. Like, you're getting your 3 active frontline, but you figure, like, you are the PRV earner in your team.
Which is where
you know this.
Yeah, and recruiting is going to come into that. So because I'll be honest with you guys, sometimes it is really hard to ignite the fire in someone who has lost their Scentsy spirit. And to a new consultant, you know, let's say you had a new consultant who came in and they're like ready to go. This is a whole nother subject, which we're going to talk about next week. And I know we keep saying that, but this is why it's so important, you know, to getting your new consultants off to a good start where they're making money. Because if people come into this business and they are not seeing immediate results and immediate money, they are more than likely going to throw in the towel and give up. And when you try and reignite that in them later on, it's going to be very hard to get them active, to get them promoting, to get them back into their business. So anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But I think, what Ashley said, it's just a matter of, recruiting at that point. If you find your team is not hitting, the GWV that you need based on whatever their PRV is, and you're not getting paid at title, it's like you have to just, your growth, I would say, would be.
You have one person, and I'm not going to call out names, but you have one person and you know who that is, and she's very strong, but she has no team either. And the majority of your team is yours. You're growing wide, but you are not deep at all. And the majority of your team is just putting in the minimum, maybe every month. And that $6,000 wholesale, I mean, that's a lot. So we've got to either change the people or change the people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have you communicated with them? And obviously this could be like a complete sidebar, but have you communicated with them? Do you know where they are? Like what they need or?
I've tried talking to each one of them individually. What can I do to help you? Do you have parties booked this month? What? And I don't get anywhere with it.
Sometimes, and this is the reality of it all, which again, we're going to talk about in another week. Sometimes, you guys, you just cannot make people want. All the time, you cannot make people want it. Okay. Even us here cannot motivate you guys to do anything. This training, this course, this program cannot motivate you guys. You have to feel it from within. You have to want it. You have to be the one that wants to change your business and take it somewhere. You cannot do that. So you also can't get down on yourself when you have tried everything you can to reach out to people, or help them in the best way you can, and it's not reciprocated. That is not your problem, and it's not your fault either. What you need to do is you need to continue recruiting and go find new people. Mm-hmm. That's where you're going to see the magic happen, because you cannot sit and rely on a person in order for you to get paid at title, in order for you to promote. You just can't rely on other people to help you reach those promotions. Obviously the way the compensation plan works, you have to rely on other people to get you promoted, but that's why you just have to have your growth. And if you have to not feel the guilt if like I said, there's people who you just can't motivate, or you just can't no matter what you did. But at the same time, as a leader, you have to think, have I done everything for this person? Can I do more? What else more can I do for them? It's all about serving them, getting them off to a good start. And, for me, I try and help my consultants brainstorm ideas on how to get parties on their calendar, or who their list. I'll literally sit down with a new consultant and be like, okay, let's talk about your list of 100. Who's in your circle right now? Getting their brain thinking and things like that.
Well, and that's part of it too. I guess, and you don't have the answer to this, but I guess in my mind, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. It's not going to do me any good to sponsor anymore if I sponsor them the way I'm sponsoring these people, because I'm not making it work. Does that make any sense? I guess I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out how can.
But Sandy, you know what? Regardless if you were there or not, they're going to move or not. Some of us did not have active sponsors for no reason in particular, nothing wrong, but we were just self-starters. Okay. So whether you're doing it, if you know that you're doing all that you can, then you know that. If you know that there's room for growth on your end to be a better sponsor, there's room for me. I'm absolutely the people that joined with me in the beginning that are on this call got the crap end of the stick when they joined under me when I first joined. The people that join under me now get the full-fledged,
I know. Sorry, Lori.
Yeah, get the boss calling, right? But honestly, there's people that I pour into that are me, don't do a thing, right? And then there's people that joined under me, right, when I had nothing to offer as a new consultant, that are amazing. Okay. So it's not your fault, but you can reflect and know, am I doing everything that I can? Is there room? Do you know that there's more that you could be doing? I'm sure, and not to your fault, but there's more that all of us could be doing. Right. So don't say that. Like there's no reason why you shouldn't be sponsoring. Absolutely. But this is what this training is here for, because we're going to talk about how to effectively sponsor, how to effectively train, really get into that. But I'm sure, and Ashley, I'm sure can attest to all of this. Like, it's not your fault if your GWV isn't where it should be. It's not your fault, right?
Well, I'm not trying to be negative and down on myself.
Oh, no.
I'm just trying to be honest.
Right. I understand. I guarantee it's not your fault.
Figure it out.
Yes.
Bottom line, your numbers do not define who you are. You promoted in the busiest
there you go, Sandy.
Historically in Scentsy. It's okay. Your GWV this month is the highest it's been since you promoted. So kudos to you. You're growing into your numbers. It's just taking some time. It's going to get there. It's not you. You're good.
There you go.
Buttercup. I love you.
I love you too.
All right, guys, is there anything else? Is there any other questions? I mean, obviously, if there's anything that you guys think of after, please, by all means, come on our page. That is what we're here for, which also...
We talk about the homework challenge.
We have homework, which, guys, please...
I know a lot of people just dropped off right now.
Yeah.
Homework, please. This is all about being interactive, okay? When we sat with you guys as our teams and told you this was going to be like an engaged team building program, right? Please be engaged here. We want to hear from you. We want to know how we can better lead and serve you guys.
Right. We're only in week 2, you guys. Like, this is kind of, we getting a little tough love right now. Like, we're in only week 2. Like, we still have 10 weeks ahead of us. So I know, like I said, there's a bunch of people who literally just dropped off the call right now. But that's okay. I know that we kind of went past 10. We're long-winded anyway. But homework challenge, okay? So this week, what your homework challenge is, and you like how I call it a homework challenge, right? Because we don't like to call it homework.
School children.
What?
I said school children.
Exactly.
School children.
Wait, hold on one second. I just had it here. Okay, so your homework challenge this week, we're going to put up a post, and you're going to, since we talked about front loading, okay, screenshot your front loaded calendar for November. It might be front loaded already. It might need work. It might not be, it might be blank, and that's fine. So this week you're going to work on it. If it's already front loaded fully, you're already 2 steps ahead of the game. Screenshot your front loaded calendar, but we also want you to come up with some measurable goals this week, meaning not just I want to book parties on my calendar. How many parties do you want to book on your calendar based off of you front loading? How many days can you party? Right? Remember when we talked about before, I said I have a goal this month and usually every month, 1 to 2 home parties. I have a spot 2 Fridays that I could do 2 home parties, okay? And then I try and do 4 Facebook parties, and I have my basket parties out. So know whatever type of parties you're doing and, how to get yourself up there by setting up your measurable goals. How many sponsoring conversations do you want to have this week? I'll tell you how many.
Don't just write 2,000 PRV on the side of your planner. If you know your average parties PRV is, say, 300, how many parties do you have to have front loaded on your calendar to hit 2,000? Exactly. Action plan. Otherwise, those numbers mean nothing.
Right. So you're going to screenshot your front loaded calendar. Tell us your measurable goals along with an action plan on how to achieve that. Okay. So you don't just want to see, I want to hit 2K PRV. I want 2 to 3 home parties. Like, it has to be like an action plan on how you're going to do that. Sponsoring conversations. Again, you have to think about how, just measurable with that action plan. We want to see that there. Okay. So that you guys feel fully comfortable with the conversation plan, the goals that you're going for, and, you kind of you get comfortable with it so you can start teaching these things to your team. Okay, I'm done. So anything else? Last minute? No?
Good night.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll let you guys go. Happy Sunday. Get ready. Tomorrow we got 2 days left in October. Get ready to boss this out, and we will see you later next week. Peace.
Good night.